Today in our episode we are going to attend the first home match of Astana basketball team in the new season. At the same time we will tell you what changes have occurred in this team. We will talk with the national short track team leader Abzal Azhgaliyev, who returned to the ice after his injury, and the trainer of Kazakhstan national equestrian team Aset Tolkumbekov will take us into the world of show jumping today.
Друзья, добро пожаловать на первую домашнюю игру.
Welcome to the first home match of the season of Astana Basketball Club. Team has changed noticeably. First of all, several key legionnaires left the team at the same time, and equally high-quality strengthening took place there. But we'll talk about it a bit later. We have a feeling that this season will be very interesting.
Предчувствие, что нынешний сезон будет очень интересным.
In recent years, Lokomotiv Kuban has become a principal rival for Astana. Here they are, warming up now. Matches between these teams have been an equal score and intense. At the end of last season, Lokomotiv took the 4th place. Let's see which side will be lucky today. A few days before this game, Astana held its team presentation. There we found out that Rustam Yagali completed his career as a player and now will work in the club structure. Quite unexpectedly, isn't it? The new team captain is Rustam Muzagaliyev. Club's composition renewed by about a half. Legionnaires who helped the club last season to take the 6th place in the VTB League have been moved up. The first home match of the season began with vigorous actions of guests. Thanks to efforts of Will Cummings and Sam Decker, Lokomotiv has got a great advantage. The gap between teams in the course of the first half of meeting reached 14 points. The fate was not obviously on the side of hosts. We are entering a very difficult season. We no longer have the team that you remember last season, which gave a good result. Foreign players went to good European clubs with good contracts, but we cannot stand still. One of our main goals is to show the result and victory in Kazakhstan Championship. In Country's Cup as well as getting into playoffs of VTB League are important for our sponsors.
Победа Кубки Казахстана, ну и, конечно, попадание в плей-офф Лиги ВТБ.
After team presentation, Astana announced the signing of a contract with American basketball player Isaiah Whitehead. This 24-year-old team's guard has experience playing in the NBA, but he's absent in today's application. His first team in the VTB League was our rivals, Lokomotiv Kuban team. In the second half of the meeting, a completely different team came out of the locker room. Astana did their best. Big guy from Serbia, Ristić Dušan, made 9 rebounds, while team's newcomer, Jeremiah Hill, gave 16 assists. At the end of the game, hosts were able not only to equalize but also to get ahead by 2 points. The top point player was Cody Clark, who scored 26 points in this game. Do you hear the support from the stands? Today, fans are incredible.
Incredible. You know, we fought really hard. Cody came to play today, man. He played amazing. Dušan played amazing. Malcolm, we played so much better in the second half. You know, we're just growing as a team. We're having a trouble starting at the beginning of games, so we get down a little bit. But I mean, our second half effort was incredible.
What coach said in the middle game?
To believe in ourselves. He told us that we were able to beat them if we played together.
I am very glad that guys did not give up and employed tactics that the coach chose. The team played like a one fist today. This is really important. For me, there is no difference whether they are foreigners or from Kazakhstan. This is one team, and this team was on the game today. Regardless of this victory, tension in this season will be significant. Hence, it will be very difficult to get into playoffs of this year.
Попасть в плей-офф будет архи сложно.
У нас как команда сюрприз, наверное.
We have a surprising team. We have proven that we have a character. We try to understand each other and work out in trainings. I believe with each game we become better. Rookies want to show themselves. They also want to prove themselves in Europe. They are young, but very motivated.
Показать, то, что они могут играть, умеют играть. Они молодые достаточно, но они очень мотивированы.
Я считаю, что состав в этом году хороший.
I guess that team composition is good this year, but still believe that 70 to 90% of success depends mainly on team coach. I am very happy to work with him for the second year in a row. There will be ups and downs this season, but we will always try to show a great game.
Постараемся показывать характер и достойную игру.
It is likely that Astana will be strengthened by several more legionnaires, but the current squad has shown that team has a fighting spirit and coach that never ceases to amaze. Further in today's episode, there is a big interview with Abzal Azhgaliyev about injury, tasks for the season, computer games and military service. These days, national short track team of Kazakhstan conducts its training at the Alao Ice Palace. Its leader Abzal Azhgaliyev returned to his team 9 months after the injury. He is an outstanding athlete who was the Kazakhstan standard bearer at the Olympic Games in South Korea. Abzal has already had many titles by the age of 27. He's the first from Kazakhstan to win the gold of the World Cup short track. Today we are talking with a star of Kazakhstan's sport. Welcome, Abzal. How are you doing? What competitions are you preparing for? Hello, we have already had our first competitions of this season. In September, the Russian Cup, an open championship, was held in Moscow. Lots of countries participated there. Along with our team, there were teams from Russia, the Netherlands, Latvia, Poland and many European countries. We had test competitions in this season. All rivals checked each other's capability, like who is in shape after the summer and who is capable of what. And we did really well. How did the recovery go? I heard you had an injury and underwent rehabilitation for 9 months. How are you feeling right now? This is the first injury in my whole sports career. It was a shock for me. I did not know what to do. And I had to get over it anyway. 9 months were spent on recovery. I have tried to get in shape for a long time. The very first competition was the Russian Cup. I guess I recovered well. What happened and how traumatic is your sport? It is a quite traumatic kind of sport. We have 111 meters just in one circle. Hockey rink. Steep and sharp turns. There is a speed skating and there is a short track. What makes it interesting is that we turn quickly in corners, and this is really dangerous. Contact sport. Up to 8 people can run at the same distance. That is why it is considered to be dangerous. After the World Cup in Almaty, we flew to Moscow, and at a training camp there, I accidentally tripped and twisted my leg. I thought it was just a bruise, but turned out to be an actual break. Where is the Kazakhstan national team training right now, and how is the training going? The national team of Kazakhstan is currently training in their homeland. Usually we have always trained abroad along with other teams. We trained with a Dutch team for 3 years, for instance. In that year, after the Olympics, we trained with a Russian team. This year we decided to train at home to pull up our young people as well. We have many ice palaces here and decided to try them.
и решили попробовать.
Is the team being renewed by youth? And how popular is the short track in our country?
Раньше, допустим, нескольких городов было.
Earlier, short track was developed only in a few cities, but now it has been promoting in all cities of our country, including even the southern cities. Today, Shymkent has an ice palace and a short track section. I'm glad that such kind of sport has been developing in most of the cities. It is nice to know that every day more and more young people want to take part in this. An interesting sport after all. Who will outrun whom? Children are especially interested in competing. Unlike others, short track is a kind of mass sport. Now everything is free. It was not so accessible in my childhood. I actually came to the short track because I liked to skate.
Так пришел, просто мне нравилось покататься на коньках.
It means you started training when an ice palace appeared in Uralsk. Yes. At first, I did not practice seriously as I went there with my classmates and did not like it at all. But later I liked it. I worked out for a couple of years and then realized that this is my field and I need to take it seriously. You were the flag bearer of Kazakhstan national team at the Olympics. How invaluable is this experience for you?
Очень волнительно было.
It was very exciting. Usually you are preparing for a competition and suddenly you have to be the flag bearer. The whole country looks at you, stadium opens and all of the athletes follow you. The whole delegation follows you. It was really exciting for me. I prepared psychologically and now I'm glad that everything went well.
Что все хорошо, я прошел.
Does this pressure affect your performance? It often happens that the flag bearers do not win medals. For me, it was the second Olympics. I felt myself free, felt more support there. I did my best, took a quite good place as well. Many things are still ahead of us, you just need to work on results. What goals do you set for yourself this season? This season we have World Cups. There will be 6 stages of the World Cup. I want to get more medals. At the end of the season, the World Championship will be held and thus the main goal is to win medals. Abzal, do you have any idols on the short track? I do not have idols, but there are some athletes that I like. They include Victor An, Canadian Charles Hamelin and Wang Meng from the Chinese team. These athletes are inspiring.
Бросил сейчас сборную Китая, Wang Meng его звать тоже.
Quite frequent thing in short track athletes change their teams. An example could be South Korean Victor An, who plays for Russia now. Yes, there are a lot of such athletes. There are also Americans who switched to European teams. Were you offered to change your citizenship? No, I would not want it. What do you think on the case with Victor An? They start from an early age. This is a real hard work for them. You started at 11, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, I started a little later. Is it late for the short track? I think yes. For instance, in Korea, they start at 5 years old. Even in Europe and in our country, we start a bit later. But they already have Olympic champions and world-class athletes at the age of 16 to 17. One period we even had legionnaires in the short track. Do you have them now? Is there a need to attract them?
Раньше, допустим, можно было, но сейчас я посравнить, когда я начинал.
There was a need in the past, but now, if you compare the time when I started sport and present days, you will see a marked increase in the development level of youth, particularly of guys. They take prizes and set records, even at junior championships.
И рекорды мира ставят. И я думаю, у нас у молодежи большое будущее.
Now there are ice palaces and necessary conditions are made for the youth almost in all cities. You can hold open championships so that participants from other countries could participate.
Допустим, из других стран приезжают и так развивать наш вид спорта шорт-трек.
Are you for attracting legionnaires or against it?
Ну, я думаю, лучше
I believe it is better to educate our people. They can perform just as good as other legionnaires. It is completely different feeling when you defend the honor of your country.
Они все-таки, когда защищают честь своей страны, я думаю, совсем другое ощущение.
Athletes from which countries are leading in the short track?
У нас разные виды дистанции, допустим.
We have different distances. There are long as well as short distances. Usually Asians, Koreans are leading at 1500 meters. At sprinting, Canadians, Chinese and Hungarians.
Канадцы, и китайцы, и венгры часто вот на этих дистанциях. И еще есть командный вид спорта, там эстафета у нас.
We also have a team relay race in which mostly the Dutch and Canadians show great results. A short track is developing in every country and new faces appear every year.
Можно сказать, каждым годом новые победители, новые лица.
Abzal, I know that you served in the military, in the airborne forces, if to be precise.
Ну, армия, я думаю,
I think everyone should serve in the military. This is a country's honor after all. I'm an athlete. There we have the same discipline, like to get up early to do everything in certain order. Thus, I like it. Most young people avoid the army, but I did not. I had no reason not to be in the army. That is why my experience in army is positive. For example, in Korea, you definitely have to be in the army, even if you are a world champion.
По-любому надо пойти в армию.
Have you ever tried parachute jumps? Yes, I've tried. Has the competition in Kazakhstan national team increased? If you compare, for instance, with what was 10 years ago. Yes, it has increased and speeds are different now. There were only a couple of leaders 10 years ago, and now the whole team is competing. We have a lot of selections even for junior championships. Who was your mentor in childhood and how significant was his contribution to your future success? Well, Jaslan Turabekovich was my coach in my childhood. He and Maldigali Abzal, who is now the head coach of our team, both raised me, and we still keep in touch with each other. They always supported and still support me. I know you like computer games. How much time do you spend on such games? When I train, I completely forget about computer games, but I spend some time on it during my vacation. I also like to go out somewhere with my friends. Really interesting. Do you like football?
Футбол, да, обязательно. Футбол нет, не хотела заниматься, просто.
I like football very much. But as far as I remember, I wanted to do cycling and boxing. Pretty typical for Kazakhstan. Many people think that it is easy to be on top in boxing, but it is wrong. You need to work hard. In the end, I decided to go to the short track, and I liked it.
В конце пришел к этому шорт-треку, и как-то мне больше понравилось.
Is it mainly because of adrenaline? Did it attract you?
Да, адреналин, и потом мне нравилось соревноваться. Кто первый там.
Yes, it did. I also like to compete, like who will be the first to get there. Even if you watch it live, you realize that this is a completely different sight, especially when all the best athletes gather in one place. In our sport, the leader of set-off cannot say for sure that he will win. In other sports, an athlete can predict his result, but here we can go first and fall in one moment. It can be because the skates are blunt, or you fell and you become the last as 5 people get ahead of you.
А у нас можно ехать первым, вдруг коньки сорвались или коньки затупились, ты упал. Или же просто сорвался, и тебя 5 человек обогнали.
Everyone has different tactics. If an athlete is strong, he looks at his rivals. The weak one always strives to come forward. We have a new additional discipline called mixed relay with 2 guys and 2 girls running in it. You can become a 5-time Olympic champion immediately at one Olympiad.
И в одной Олимпиаде можно 5-кратным олимпийским чемпионом стать сразу же.
We wish you to achieve such results. Thank you very much for the interview. Further in the episode, the trainer of Kazakhstan national equestrian team Aset Tolkumbekov will tell you what the show jumping is. Take this gallop.
В повороте его не теряй.
Do not lose it at the turn and sit
Не
tight.
наращивай, сиди спокойно. Вот и все, хорошо.
Horse jumping is the youngest, but at the same time the most spectacular form of equestrian sport. It was barely 100 years old. It is both an art and a science. Science is important for understanding the center of gravity and lifting angles. Art is a style and talent. Look how noble horses jump over these obstacles.
Каждой лошади мы стараемся работать индивидуально.
We try to work with each horse individually. There are amateur class horses. They jump only a meter.
Есть лошади,
We also have tournament horses. They jump from 130 and above.
лошади у нас.
But the equestrian sport trends are changing, and now the Olympic standards are 160 centimeters.
Если высоты олимпийского вида, это гран-при у нас называется 160.
Almost all horses are able to jump, but not everyone has the technique of jumping and willingness to overcome obstacles. You need to be patient in order to train an animal. Selection is equally important as well.
Весь мир, высшей мировой тенденции, в основном все прыгают.
There is one tendency in the world: everyone jumps on European horses, mostly of German, Dutch and Belgian breeds. Here we have German horses, the Oldenburg and Westphalian breeds.
Альденбургская порода, вестфальская порода. Вот так и иди.
Go like this, calmly, smoothly, closer. Good.
Хорошо. Конный спорт не стоит на месте. Селекция очень сильно играет свою роль. Сейчас, конечно...
Equestrian sport does not stand still. Now much depends on horses. Particularly European horses grow to such extent that many things depend on them. The same situation with cars. These horses, by our measures, are an Opel Vectra as for the price and for the level. Horses with a higher price perform at the Olympics.
Более намного высокие и в цене высокие.
Country that can be considered the birthplace of horse jumping is France, where the first competitions were held in the middle of the 19th century. The sport quickly gained popularity in Europe and even in America, and later became part of the Olympic Games. At the last European Championship, Belgians won a sensational victory despite the fact that every year athletes from Germany, France and Switzerland were the favorites. Such countries as Qatar, Saudi Arabia, China and Japan can be attributed to the world elite.
Развитие как бы очень сильно происходит в основном в национальных видах спорта. У нас
The development is noticeable more in national sports. We have a few people. For example, Baiga and Kokpa have very big prizes for winners as money or cars. We do not have that. Mostly fans or devotees participate in horse jumping. Nowadays, Russia is developing in this field as well. We try to compete and perform in places which have enough amount of horses.
У кого есть возможность, у кого позволяют лошади, мы стараемся выехать туда, выступить там.
Equestrian sport is distinguished not only by its high cost but also by high injury risk. Riders protect themselves with the help of special equipment. Yes, you need to buy a uniform, a horse and then feed and transport it.
В этом году у нас девушка, вот Нурила, у меня еще один спортсмен.
This year we traveled at our own expense. We were in Moscow for almost 2 months. We went to St. Petersburg and Yekaterinburg. There were gold and silver tours. I performed and won in the silver tour, then the anthem of Kazakhstan was played. Another time I was the third. Now the great attention is given to Nurila. This is a young, promising athlete whom we are preparing right now. There will be the Eurasia Cup in Moscow next year among juniors.
На следующий год вот планируем будут Кубок Евразии в Москве.
Experienced riders say that it is impossible not to fall in love with this sport, and we believe them. Horse jumping still exists in Kazakhstan largely because of their fans. The video of the week completes our today's episode. Norwegian freestyler Jesper Tjada put an action camera on his helmet and showed what you can love winter for. Competitions with such an unusual track annually take place in Austria and gather crowds of extreme sportsmen.